Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by K1 legend and World Series of Fighting president, Ray Sefo. Ray, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Ray, you got a fight coming up August 10th at World Series of Fighting 4. How's training been going for the fight?
Training's been great. Just getting my kickboxing in, my wrestling, and my jiu-jitsu, and there's a lot of people involved in my camp, and it's been great.
Ray, usually when we hear about you inside mixed martial arts, outside of your role of World Series of Fighting president, but when we hear about you coaching guys like Martin Kampmann, Brad Tavares, Evan Dunham, when he was with you guys, Vitor Belfort, guys like that, training them, getting them ready for fights. Now that you have a fight, who are some of your coaches? Who are some of the guys that are helping you get ready for this fight?
I have Kyle Griffin. Funny enough, it's Tyson Griffin that's going to be on the card as well. So this is brother, who is an amazing wrestling coach. Randy's helping out as well. Also at Extreme Couture, I have Dewey Cooper, who's a K1 fighter, also a former K1 fighter, still competing as well, who coaches. So he's my kickboxing guy. I work with Robert Drysdale and Eric Nixick with jiu-jitsu, as well as Dennis Davis. So, Danny Davis as well, who's helping with sparring, and a few of the other boys. It's a good camp. I mean, Mon Chapman, Brad Tavares, Brandon Hanson, Evan Dunham, all the boys are there anyway, and so they, when it comes to the ground, they give out certain pointers here and there, which helps a lot. It's amazing. Like, I was with Randy the other day, and just the smallest little things makes the difference, and I'm in good hands.
Now that you're focused on this fight and you're preparing for a fight, have you stopped coaching? Because I know that you stopped working with World Series of Fighting in the front office to prepare for this fight. So have you stopped coaching some of the guys at Extreme Couture, or are you still, since you're in the gym, still getting some time in coaching?
No, I'm still coaching, but I also have a guy that helps out. One of my other students that helps out, and Jay runs in camp as well from time to time, and he helps out, holding pads for the boys and whatnot. And so, I'll sit there and coach and just correct the guys on certain things. But it's one of these things that I love what I do, and my responsibilities are obviously to train, but at the same time, also I have guys who had fights coming up as well. For example, Brad Tavares and Mon Chapman, who fight 2 weeks after me. So, I've been coaching the guys up to this point as well. So.
Now, Ray, what do your days consist of? Like, talk me through what a basic day of training would be like for you.
Well, let's say Monday morning it's grappling, and then I'll go to the office for a couple of hours just to do a few things there, and I'll come home, hang out with my son for a little bit, and then head back to the gym for kickboxing training. Tuesday is sparring in the mornings, and then at night at 7 at night I have strength and conditioning. So, my day is pretty full, as well as coaching the boys. So, I have a very full schedule.
During this training camp, what exactly have you been working on? Have you been working on trying to add new techniques to your game? Have you been working on trying to correct some problem areas that you've been having? Have you been trying to work on your weaknesses for this fight? Or are you just basically preparing for your opponent and trying to get your conditioning as best as possible? What exactly have you been working on during this camp?
Well, a mix of everything, really. There are basic submissions that involves MMA. I mean, I don't try and do too much of the submission side of things, because it's not going to be a jiu-jitsu fight. So Robert Drysdale and Eric Nixick, and the boys will win. We'll get our final points here and there, but mainly, working a lot of my wrestling, which I enjoy a lot. It's a grueling training session, so I love it, so it's more, obviously focusing on my wrestling, my takedown defense, taking guys down, ground and pound. If the submission there, I'll go for it. But other than that, a lot of it's stamina work as well as grappling and kickboxing.
Mm-hmm. You're currently taking a leave of absence from your position as World Series of Fighting president to prepare for this fight. Whose idea was this for you to step aside and just focus on training? Was it your call, or was it the staff that you have at World Series of Fighting who were telling you, hey, Ray, you know what, go prepare for this fight, don't worry about things, we can take care of it? Whose call was it to allow you to just focus full-time on training?
Yeah, it was a team decision. I mean, I brought it up, and the team, we all sat down and then discussed it, and we thought it was a good idea, especially because the team that that we have is an amazing team, and so everybody had put in their 2 cents to help and do what I do. I mean, I go in there and sign contracts and stuff like that here and there, but and I'm not in the office. I mean, I'm in the office probably 10% of the time now, where, I was in there 100% of the time. So it was ultimately a team decision, and which was good, because then I get to focus on my training.
Mm-hmm. How long were you into training when you decided to step back a little and just focus on the training, or was it even before you even got into camp, you just said, hey, I'm not going to worry about the front office stuff, I'm just going to focus on training? When did that happen?
Actually, I think I was already 4 weeks into camp, and I realized that, I wasn't going to be able to be in the office, as much as I wanted to be, or as much as that I needed to be. So, the team sat down, and then pretty much I brought it up to the team, and we sat down and we discussed it, and it was the right thing to do. Mm-hmm.
Now, who's running things in your place? Is it a group of people or just one person who's doing your job while you're away?
It's a group. It's pretty much everybody in the office. Which is, again, is a fortunate thing. I mean, Keith Evans is our key guy in the office. So, a lot of things are run through Keith, and occasionally if something needs attention, then, Keith will call me or text me. But other than that, it's everybody from Donovan to Christian to Ashley, like everybody in the office are all helping out with whatever needs to be done there.
Mm-hmm. When you show up to the venue on August 10th, will you just be treated like a regular fighter? Will you just go through the stuff that the other fighters are going through? Or if somebody from World Series of Fighting says, hey, Ray, we need you to help out on, maybe if there's an issue or something, I don't know what the scenario would be for them to ask for your help, but will you put back on that president's cap and try to help out?
Obviously, when I get there, I'll be treated just like one of the other fighters. But that being said, if it's something that needs my attention, I will attend to it. But my staff are very capable people, and they're very intelligent people. So I don't think there's anything there that they can't handle. That being said, now I'm going to be there anyway. I don't think there's going to be anything that's going to need too much any physical or too much attention on my behalf, that my team can't handle. So I'm very, confident that my team has everything down packed, and everything will be said and done. Will be done come fight day. So I'm very, I'm very pleased that and happy with the team that we have. I mean, they're amazing people.
Mm-hmm. Just curious, for this fight, are you going to be getting show money and win money, or have they factored your purse into your salary that you're already getting from World Series of Fighting? Just curious, how does the payment for this fight work for you?
Yes, it'll be just like any other fighter.
I see. Now, Ray, you're going to be fighting Dave Acaba on August 10th. What are your thoughts about him as an opponent?
I think Dave Acaba is a great opponent. He's a big guy. He's strong. He likes to bang. He's been in the game. His record speaks for itself. He's 20-5. Nothing but respect for Dave. It's a fight, and there's no secrets to the fight. I mean, at the end of the day, you make one mistake, it could be lights out. So I'm well prepared, and I know, going into this fight that I'm going to throw down. He's going to throw down. One of us is going to fall. Plain and simple.
Why exactly did you decide to take this fight against Dave Acaba? Was it because of last time out, Dave Acaba, he was supposed to fight at World Series of Fighting 3, but his opponent, Holes Gracie, he got injured. Was that the reason? Some people thought that maybe when you do decide to come back to fighting, it would maybe be a rematch with Mirko Krokop, because that was a fight where you were kind of misled into thinking that was his final fight, and that's obviously not the case. He's fighting again. I think he's fighting Alexander Emelianenko in the fall, so he's been fighting since then, even though you were under the impression that it was his final fight. Some people thought that maybe if you were going to fight for World Series of Fighting, maybe you'd bring him in and have this rematch under MMA rules. Is it, maybe fighting Dave Acaba just because you like his style? What exactly led you to decide to take this fight against Dave?
Well, it wasn't just because, it wasn't just Dave in particular. I mean, I've had offers from overseas, Moscow, Japan, New Zealand, Australia. So when I presented that to the team, they said, well, if if that's the case, why don't you fight on our card? And it's funny, because when I actually presented this to the team about a year ago, the team were like, nah, I think it was a good idea. But when I got offered fights from overseas, and I was gonna take those fights, they all said, well, why don't you fight on our card? I was like, well, that's exactly what I was talking about earlier. But Dave Acaba, listen, I don't think Dave Acaba, he tweeted something that he's not a pushover. I don't think Dave Acaba is a pushover. I think he's a dangerous guy. I think he's a he's a guy that you don't take lightly. So the fact that he was the co-main event in the last show, and then Hollis got injured, fortunately. So the opportunity, I thought it was a good opportunity to step back in the cage. And one of the reasons why I'm been fighting is because my last goal I wanted to achieve was to get to 100 fights. Well, the funny thing is, I ended up calling, because Wikipedia has me at 87 fights, which is wrong. I thought I had about 96, maybe a little bit more. And when I spoke to, so I ended up finally making a phone call about 4 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. A coach in New Zealand that I became world champion with, Lola Hemuli, and he says, Ray, no, we had 17, 18 fights going into K1, and so when we counted it down, I'm actually at 100 fights right now. So this fight with Dave Acaba will be 101. So right now I'm 99.9% sure this is going to probably be my last fight.
You mentioned that you took this fight with Dave Acaba because he's not a pushover. He's a very skilled guy. What kind of fight are you expecting from him? Because a lot of people feel like if he stands with you, he's going to get knocked out. He needs to take it to the ground immediately if he wants a chance to beat you. But I look at his last fight. He fought Carter Williams, a guy who you fought back in your K1 days. He's a K1 level striker, and Dave Acaba was able to stand with him and have success. And it was actually Carter Williams who wanted to take the fight to the ground. So, I don't really know what to expect from this fight. What kind of fight are you anticipating going into this one?
Well, again, you hit it right on the nail. I mean, the fact of the matter is Dave Acaba is 20-5 in MMA, so I'm 3-1, or so I said 2-1. So, I'm expecting the fight to go either way. I mean, I'm expecting him to stand bang. I'm expecting him to try and take me down. So, I've every aspect of the game. That's mixed martial arts, and it would be foolish for me to think that they will end up will do one thing. Mm-hmm. I'm well prepared for the ground or where they'll be standing.
Mm-hmm. Ray, with you being a competitor and being a front office guy, some people have kind of made jokes about this fight. If Dave Acaba were to come in and beat you, would he still have a job? There's the famous story of Michael Jordan. When he was playing for the Washington Wizards and running the team, he was cutting the guys who weren't passing him the ball. He was cutting guys who weren't, playing well on the court with him. If Dave Acaba should beat you, that's kind of like not passing the ball to you. So will Dave Acaba still have a job if he comes out on the winning end on August 10th?
No, if he beats me up, I'm going to cut him on No, kidding. Listen, David, I got nothing but respect for David. I think he's a great fighter. I'm again, like I said, I've been in this fight game a long time, so winning and losing is part of what we do. And so whatever the outcome of the fight is, that's the outcome. And Dave will continue to have a job with WSOF fighting. I met in our last show, and he seems like a really nice guy. I've talked to some of our staff, and they said he's a super nice guy. So.
Mm-hmm. Now, Ray, taking off the fighter hat and putting on your coach's hat, just curious, there's been a lot of guys who have come inside and outside of Extreme Couture lately, Mike Pyle being the most recent guy to leave. He went to Syndicate MMA. There's been other guys in the past, Michael Chandler, John Gunderson, Tyson Griffin, guys who all left on good terms but have left nevertheless. What's going on at Extreme Couture? Why are some of these guys feeling that they need to go elsewhere to train? Give us the inside scoop. What's going on there?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, sometimes guys need to, find certain things that continue to motivate them. I really don't have the actual right answer for everybody because everybody's different. They may not move to Cali because him and his wife felt like it was just time to move on, and they wanted to move to Cali as well. So, upon other personal stuff that he dealt with former coaches that he worked with. Other than that, Tyson Griffin, again, is from he's from California, so he wanted to try out something out there, and everybody has their own different reasons and their own personal reasons, and I really don't know the answers to that. I mean, in terms of we still have most of the boys at Extreme, and business-wise, it's doubled. I guess from here from the office. So, business is doing good in terms of clientele, but our fighters, we got to a point where all our guys fought back to back. And for a good, I want to say 4 or 5 months, everybody was away on vacation, and then Jay and I believe it was Brad that needed bodies, and a lot of guys were off because they just fought, and so the boys started going to Syndicate, and John Wood is a good friend of everybody's, and the boys from Syndicate. So, a lot of boys when they were sparring, and especially because they had a lot of bodies there as well. That helped out a lot, and so the guys, all our pros kind of cross trains between Syndicate MMA and Drysdale BJJ. So. Which is, that's been, which the guys have done in the past 5-6 years. But everything in the issue with tour moves, that's still moving forward, and things are good there.
Mm. Now, there's 2 guys in your gym that I wanted to ask you about. The first guy, Jay Haran, he's currently a free agent. Obviously you have a close relationship with him. You've trained with him for a long time. Is it possible that, he's coming to World Series of Fighting? Because I know that Bellator is still an option for him because he fought their champion Ben Askren to a very close decision. Some people thought that he won that fight. He has some unfinished business there. How's he doing? He was just released from the UFC. He didn't have the greatest run that he was hoping to have. How's he doing, and is there a spot for him at World Series of Fighting?
He's doing great. Jay, and he's a brother to me, and I'm very proud of him because he's pretty much got his head on his shoulders, and he's been focusing a lot on the film stuff. He was filming with Spider-Man for I want to say 6 or 7 weeks, and right now he's away filming Ninja Turtles, and so he's been very active in terms of stunt work and extra work and that kind of stuff, and they keep him busy. And but he's in a great place. But for Jay right now. He's stuck to his guns, and if somebody would pay what he wants, he'll continue fighting. If not, he's pretty much done with the game. And he continuously trains every day when he's in town, now with us and the boys. But what do you call it? He's in a good place. He's very happy, and he's in a good place. And like I told him, I said, I'm proud of you because you're sticking to your guns, you're moving on, you're doing things, you're not sitting around feeling sorry for yourself. So I'm very proud of him, and I think he's got a couple of other films that's already in the works that he's going to be working on. So he's busy. He's staying very busy.
Now the second guy is Frank Trigg. He's expressed interest that he still wants to fight. He says that he's still got some fights left in him. Is he a possible guy that could be brought aboard? World Series of Fighting, one of the kind of mottos of the organization is giving some of these established veterans a place to go. Is World Series of Fighting the place to go for Frank Trigg? I
actually had no idea that Frank was still wanting to fight. To be honest. That being said, yes, there's a possibility that we could have him on the card. But yeah, that's new to me. I didn't know that Frank was still looking to fight. But he's been really busy with a lot of the journalist stuff and things like that, and commentating and interviewing fighters and what have you. So I had no idea that he was still looking to compete.
Yeah, I talked to him in February, so maybe things have changed, but I'm just surprised by that because I'm sure, he's seen you around a lot, and I'm surprised that he hasn't brought anything up.
I was just with him. We went to his comedy show to watch Adam Hunt and the other night, and then I think he's in Hawaii at the moment, but he never mentioned anything to me about wanting to fight again.
Yeah, that's strange. Maybe he's just got maybe a little bit too much pride to come out and ask you. Maybe you'll have to go to him.
That's either that, or maybe he's changed his mind.
maybe it's been 5 months. Ray, let's transition from coach's hat to promoter cap. Even though the last two questions were in the promoter cap, but World Series of Fighting. This will be the third show of this year, 4 show total. Coming up on August 10th. How many shows are planned for the remainder of 2013?
We have a show in September, we have a show in October, we have a show in December.
And for 2014, is that the plan to try to do them every month, one time a month? Is that the plan, maybe 12 shows for 2014?
Yeah, that's very possible. Right now, we'll play it by year, but it's very possible to be anything from 8 to 12 shows a year.
When will we see some championship fights? Because you guys have some beautiful championship belts that right now are collecting dust. When will we see some of these championship belts being strapped around some of these fighters' waists?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the person that's going to probably be fighting for a title real soon will be Josh Berkman, and I'm thinking it's going to be sometime in October. But I'll have to, double check on my calendar and then see that. But I'm almost, I want to say I'm 99% sure that Josh Josh Berkman will definitely be fighting for the title in his next fight. But, well, actually, I'm 100% sure he's fighting for the title in his next fight. But I'm 99% sure that I think it's October.
Mm-hmm. And now, will Steve Carl be his opponent? Because Steve Carl looked impressive on the same card that Josh Berkman fought on, so they've kind of been on the same timeline from fight to fight. Is he the number one guy? Have that be a title fight, Berkman and Carl?
Right, absolutely. I think that's where I haven't confirmed that yet with my matchmaker Ali Abdelaziz, but I haven't, like I said, I've been just focusing on camp, and when this is over, said and done, then I'll sit back into the office full time. But that was a kind of like a passing conversation, not 100% confirmed in terms of the opponent, but that's most likely to be the opponent.
Mm-hmm. Now, you guys announced a 4-man middleweight tournament to crown the first middleweight champion for World Series of Fighting. When's that final set to take place? Is that going to be the October show or November, December? When will the final be?
That's going to be September. So it might be in December, actually, the final of that tournament.
Mm-hmm. And now, probably the most stacked division in World Series of Fighting right now is the 155 division. Who are some guys that are currently in the mix for that title?
I can't really... there's quite a few, to be quite honest. And, when you talk about the young guys like Justin Cagey, who's a complete beast, you know what I mean? And Tyson Griffin is an amazing fighter. He's going up against JC Cavalcanti. I mean, those guys are also in that kind of mix. But there's a few others, and so we haven't really sat down and discussed who would be the. I think because there's so many of those, and so many of the guys in the 55 that could possibly easily fight for the title. So I think it's just a matter of having a few more shows to see who would be the number one and number two contender.
Mm-hmm. The original format for World Series of Fighting was supposed to be a tournament-based format. You guys have kind of gone away from that, even though you are doing a 4-man tournament in the middleweight division. Are we going to see possibly bigger tournaments in 2014?
Most likely. It's something that it's not. It's been discussed, but it's there's nothing's been confirmed yet. We did in the beginning. We're thinking of doing tournaments and what have you, but we figured that why change things when things work the way they are? Mm-hmm. So we wanted to come out and establish ourselves first before we start looking at changing things here and there. And again, this middleweight tournament, it's our first tournament, and I think it's ideal, and it's the right time to have it too. So there is a possibility that we will have a few more of those with the other different divisions come 2014.
Mm-hmm. Now, is there any interest in putting on women's fights, whether you put together a division or just single bouts here and there? Is there any interest in that?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, that's also been discussed. I think we'll most likely do one-off bouts here and there. And because I've said this before, I think the problem with us having a division at the moment is the lack of talent, if you will. Mm-hmm. Shannon Knapp, who's a good friend and a great promoter with Invicta, they've got most of the best girls, and then UFC also has a division. So I think it's kind of tough to find any legitimate talent in the women's division at the moment. But we'll look at doing one-off fights with some good names, and I mean, we talked about. I can't remember the girl's name. Holly Holm.
Holly.
Say again?
Holly Holm.
Holly Holmes,
Yeah.
that's it.
Right.
Holly Holmes, it's been, her name came up in the mix, and there's a couple of other girls that, that also been talked about. I mean, the Tiffany, I can't remember Tiffany's last name.
Tiffany Van Soest.
She fought in the Lions fights this Friday gone, and she won their world kickboxing title.
Mm-hmm.
But she's, I think, from what I hear, she's 3 or 4-0 in MMA. So, there's a possibility that something like that, like a super fight, would happen somewhere in 2014 for sure.
Mm-hmm. Now, there's a rumor going out there that you guys are trying to link up with the Canadian MMA promotion Aggression Fighting Championships to possibly expand into Canada. Is that a rumor, or is there any truth to that?
There is definitely dialogue going back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely something that we're looking to make happen. Again, nothing's confirmed yet. But yeah, there is dialogue going back and forth with us and them.
Mm-hmm. You guys are still a very young organization. This is only going to be your 4th show on August 10th.
Right.
But expectations are very high. It seems like people since day one have tried to make you guys jump from being just a small organization to taking Strikeforce's place as the number 2, number 3, however you want to look at them. So the expectations have been set high. What kind of letter grade, 4 shows, 3 shows, whatever you want to say, into this, what kind of letter grade would you give yourself as a promoter and also World Series of Fighting as an organization?
Well, that's a good question. Like you said, we're still a very, very young league, mm-hmm. but I think we've done some leaps and bounds in between shows, and right now, for us, we see ourselves. I don't really know how to answer that 100% in person, but I think our biggest thing for us is just to continue to put on good shows and put on good shows that fans would enjoy, fights that make sense for World Series of Fighting, and just keep moving forward the way we have been. Again, people can try and say, well, you're in competition with these people, that people, UFC, whoever, whatever. Well, I think our biggest competition is ourselves, mm-hmm. and if we continue down that road, and we will keep challenging ourselves to do better.
Mm-hmm. Now, this wasn't your first taste of being a promoter. You promoted K1 events in New Zealand. You also had your own kickboxing organization, Kings of New Zealand. So you kind of knew what you were getting yourself into. But
right.
What were some things, when you started with World Series of Fighting, what were some things that you thought were going to be very hard that turned out to be a lot easier than you thought? And what are some things that you thought that were going to be very easy that turned out to be very hard?
One of the biggest things I think was, for any league to make it is to get a network like NBC Sports Network, to really believe in what you do and really come on board and be a partner. So that was one of the biggest things that I thought was going to be very difficult to get, which in the beginning it was, but when my team flew out to New York and met with the president of NBC Sports Network, John Miller, and his team, I thought there was a connection right away between us and them, and after a few meetings, we were able to be on NBC Sports Network the first show, and then we signed a 3-year deal. So. It was something that I thought it was going to be impossible, Well, maybe impossible is not the word to use. I thought it was going to be, difficult to get or to make it happen. But like I said, I thought there was connection between our team and NBC Sports Network, and so we made things happen, and it worked. And we're very blessed and honored that they were able to see that we were able to bring a product to the network that that their viewers enjoy and could sit down in front of a TV, the telly and watch. Exciting fighters, when we started, we're like, okay, well, this is what we're going to do, this and that, and the talent just kept pouring in, and so that made things easier too. So, and obviously, we wouldn't be where we are right now if it wasn't for NBC Sports Network, the team at Voices of Fighting, the fighters that we have. As a promoter, you couldn't ask for a better opportunity, but also the way that things have just fallen into place. And it's crazy again now, how it started where I was doing an interview one night, my buddy calls me the next day, and I wanted to talk to him about it. It's just, I think the stars were aligned for us, and it's something that it was just meant to happen. And I think we're destined to get these things, get Wizards of Fighting up and running and then moving forward. And I think, I don't think. I know that we have a lot of big and better things to come for the next few shows, but as well as the future for us. The future looks really bright for Wizards of Fighting.
Ray, you were recently a guest speaker at the Metro Police Troubled Youth Program in Las Vegas. How did that go, and what were some of the topics of discussion?
It went really well. I was really glad that there was a lot of parents that turned up, which I thought was amazing, because and I started off saying that in my line of work, before I started going into my own life and my own experiences, I said in my line of work we use words like honor, respect, dedication, motivation, hard work, discipline, and I said that sometimes we as a race, sometimes we take words for granted and we don't really understand the true meanings of these words, and so there's only two words that I wanted to focus on, and those two words were discipline and respect, because I felt that those two particular words can dictate where you go in life. And so, the response from the parents, then I went into how lucky they are, these kids, to be born and raised in the U.S., because, throughout my travels, I was in India at one point, and I hired a driver from New Delhi to go to Agra to see the Taj Mahal. And this ride, the whole way, it was just poverty. There's this huge kind of pond where people were cooking in this pond. There were cows, there were donkeys, there were, people were washing in there, and the water was just, it was so dirty, it's unbelievable. And so, I touched on those topics. When we really think we got it hard, we really don't know what hard is until you're over there and see it for yourself and experience what that really is like. And and afterwards, the response from the parents were very, very, very positive, and they thought that what I touched on was what they needed to hear, and so I was really, I was honored to ask to be a guest speaker for that, and I enjoy working with kids and troubled youth and what have you.
Earlier, you said you weren't sure if this was going to be the last time that you fight you had a goal originally to fight 100 times and then retire. You did some research and you've actually discovered that this fight against Dave Acaba will actually be your 101 total fights that you've had throughout your career. When will a decision be made on what you're going to do next? Will it come, depending on the outcome of this fight? Will it be maybe a couple weeks?
Whatever the outcome of this fight is, the one fight that I do really want to fight, it would be a fight in New Zealand because I started there and it's in front of my hometown, so I really would like, just for them and for myself, to actually end my fighting career there. Mm-hmm. But there's discussions going back and forth at the moment. There's a possibility that there's going to be a big show happening in New Zealand in March. So if that goes through, then I probably would fight that fight one more time, and then I'll 100% retire after that. That being said, and that's the reason why right now, I'm 99.9% sure that this could be my last fight. Mm-hmm. So if this fight doesn't come through next year in New Zealand, then I'm definitely done with fighting. I just feel like one of my last goals I wanted to get to was 100, and come to find out I am at 100. I was already in camp, so I didn't want to pull out and disappoint anybody. So the fight with Acaba will be 101. For me, it's I'm pretty much I'm happy with where my career has gone. I wouldn't change anything because it's definitely helped me a lot in terms of the person that I am and what have you. If I do continue fighting, if this fight does come through in New Zealand, then I'll fight that last fight, that one more fight.
Mm-hmm. Ray, on August 10th, how do you defeat Dave Acaba?
Knock him out.
Oh, that's simple.
Yep.
Ray, thank you for being so liberal with your time. I know this was a very long interview, so I appreciate that. Real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you'd like to thank, and is there anything you'd like to say to the fans?
Yeah, I just want to thank the fans, and of course you guys, the media. I say this all the time. Without you guys, it wouldn't be possible. So myself and WSOF Fighting have gotten nothing but love and respect from everybody, from the fans, the media, and what. And I can't thank everybody enough. Of course, I want to thank Boost Mobile with their, coming on board and believing us. NBC Sports Network becoming, our partner. And of course, my team at Acaba Tour, John Wood and the team at MMA, at Syndicate MMA, Robert Drysdale and the team there at Drysdale BJJ. So I just want to thank everybody, and I look forward to December 10th. And if you're in Cali, come to Citizens Bank Arena and check out the show. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, tune in on NBC Sports Network.
Mm-hmm. Ray, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it. Good luck August 10th at World Series of Fighting 4 against Dave Acaba.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you.